inside this vehicle at all times. And please, please, please make sure you're staying seated at all times. I am definitely driving this truck. That means no standing at point in time, no seat swapping at point in time, and making sure our lap-sitting children are staying seated on our laps. If you look above your heads, you will see an animal spotting guide, and I won't guarantee you'll see every single animal that's pictured on there, but we'll still see a good majority. You guys, of course, are more than welcome to take videos and photos of those animals as well. And we're going to start our journey right into the little Attorney Forest. Out here, the animals, they are pretty shy. They do tend to hide a lot more behind those trees, behind the bushes, or even in the grass. So do keep your eyes peeled out for them. At times, they do tend to camouflage pretty well with their surroundings. Now, out there on our right, we are going to see two okapis. Now, the okapis, they are the only living relatives of the giraffes, despite having those zebra-like stripes on their legs. They do have these prehensile tongue that pretty much helps them reach on and grab onto many other things. They can definitely use it for bathing. They can reach their eyes and even their noses. Now, all the way out there on our left, you are going to see a pretty big black and white bird. Now, that's going to be known as a saddle-billed storks. Now, the saddle-billed storks, they are known to have a wingspan of 9 feet wide, which is as wide as that canopy high above your heads. Now, of course, they have that really large yellow saddle that pretty much sits on the top of their faces. That's just where they get their names from. Now, let's see. It looks like I do spot a black rhino at the top of that hill all the way out there. So maybe we'll spot another one out here on our left-hand side, well, the back end of one. Now, the black rhinos, they are known to be the smallest of the two rhinos in Africa. These guys, they got a little bit more of a smaller jaw, so you tend to graze a little bit more up high instead of down low. Go ahead and check out this one over here that's up the top of the hill. Now, these guys, they are solitary animals. They do prefer to stay alone, but out in the wild, especially for the male black rhinos, their boundaries, they do tend to cross each other from time to time. Now, we are coming across the greater kudus out here. We got some on our left. That's going to be those grayish looking antelopes. Just to make sure we do put away all our food. Unfortunately, we're not allowed to eat on this ride. Now, the greater kudus that are out here on our right-hand side, as you can tell, they don't have any kinds of horns on the top of their heads because those are going to be female greater kudus. All the males are the ones who usually are the ones who have the horns on the top of theirs, and their horns can get really, really long. They get roughly around like 6 feet tall for their horns. Now, kind of hiding away out here on our left, you might be able to spot the bongo just a little bit. You kind of see its horns sticking up past like the bushes out there. Now, the bongos, they are nicknamed the ghosts of the forest. They are pretty shy animals. They usually tend to hide a lot more in comparison to the other animals that are out here. Now, we're going to continue on our journey right into the Safi River area, which is going to be home to these semi-aquatic animals. So do keep your eyes peeled out for bubbles, shadows, or any kind of movement at all. If you happen to see any of those things, don't be afraid to shout it out. Don't be afraid to point it out. And of course, I'll definitely do my best to shout it out and point it out for you guys as well. Now, it looks like as we go on further up ahead, we are going to spot some pink-backed pelicans out there. Now, the pink-backed pelicans, they are the only known pelicans that actually tend to make their nest pretty low to the ground instead of up high in those trees. Now, out here on our left, you are going to spot the Nile hippo sleeping away in the water. Now, hippos, of course, they enjoy the water a lot. They do spend the majority of their time in there as well. Now, as you can tell, they can sleep fully submerged underwater, and they'll subconsciously just float right back up to catch a breath of air. Now, hippos are known to hold their breath up to 8 minutes, which is a very, very long time to hold your breath for. As you see, they just pop their head up, just get a little bit of a breath of air. Now, look at that, they sink right back down. Now, due to having such a lot of muscle mass, it does cause them to sink all the way down to the bottom of the water, and it helps them kind of walk on the river floor instead of swimming around. Now, and when they are running, it almost does look like they are galloping like a horse. Now, at times, they will travel over 6 miles to search for food, and they're known to eat mainly vegetation like grass, other kind of stuff like that as well. Now, they'll eat up to 80 to 100 pounds of food. These guys can weigh between 250 to almost like 5,000 pounds. Now, let's see if we'll be able to spot anything out there on our left. Looks like I don't see much, so we are just keep on moving forwards. Now, it looks like there is a Nile crocodile out here on our left-hand side. Now, the Nile crocodiles, they are known to be the largest reptiles in Africa. They're known to average around like 16 feet long. Now, despite being that large in size and having all of those very sharp teeth, the Nile crocodiles, they are known to help their youngs hatch by gently rolling their eggs in their mouth. And once the baby fully hatched. Usually, you'll see these smaller crocodiles just stay inside their mother's milk. That way you protect them from other predators. Now, we are about to catch a break from this forest, hopefully pretty soon. We'll be heading into Savannah out here. Now, the Savannah is, of course, going to be home to the Africa's most famous animals, so hopefully, fingers crossed, once we get down there, we're going to see a lot of them walk around. Now, it looks like we are catching up to a little bit of a little jam out here, so hopefully we'll get back on that move. That tree is not going to go anywhere. Now, once we get down this hill, just keep in mind, sometimes the animals, they can get pretty close to the truck. Just make sure we just keep all our arms, hands, everything just inside this truck at all times once we kind of start moving all around there. Now, I did see some of those beside giraffes kind of walking around, and they kind of catch a glimpse and want to walk this way, so hopefully we get to see one as soon as we get down the hill. But looks like I do see some out there in the middle, so we'll definitely get to see a few of them as we go on. Now, it looks like I might have had spot some wildebeest. I don't know if we'll be able to see them once we get down there.
I did see one.
Now you can see some of those giraffes out there, all on our right-hand side. Now these giraffes that we are seeing there are known to grow up roughly up to 18 to 20 feet tall. And when the baby giraffes are born, they're already 6 feet tall, which is pretty much taller than the average human. Now, of course, these guys have that prehensile tongue, just like their relatives, the okapis, that pretty much helps them grab these leaves high above their heads. Now, giraffe tongues, it can be around 18 inches long, give or take. And if you are a visual person and want to know what 18 inches look like, for full-grown adults, you measure your fingertips to your elbow. That right there is 18 inches. Now, all the way out there, you might be able to spot the baby giraffe nursing. Now, we'll get a really good view of him once we get closer and closer. It looks like he is walking out there. As you can tell, he's really, really small and tiny. He's probably around like 5 months old, 6 months old, somewhere around there. So he's probably no longer around that like 6 foot, maybe a little bit taller than 6 foot now. Now, we are going to keep going and hopefully going to see some African painted dogs out here. Now, they will be coming up on our left. Now, these African painted dogs, they're a little small. Sometimes they do get mistaken to be hyenas, but these guys are definitely not related to hyenas at any point, or even dogs. But they are going to be out there on our left. You can see them laying right past that little log out there. Now, these African painted dogs, they are known to be the successful hunters of the savannah. These guys do tend to hunt in some pretty large packs. And they're known to be better hunters than lions and better hunters than hyenas combined. Now, it's a little hard to see from over here, but they do have like unique spottings for each and one of them. You can see a few of them sleeping closer to the trees out here. Now, we are able to tell the difference of them just based off their spot patterns alone. Now, just past this really huge bush, there are to be some sable antelopes kind of in the shade of the tree out there. That's that reddish-brown antelope with the really long horns. Now, these guys are going to be known to be the bravest animals that are out here, usually during those fight or flight situations. Those guys will actually stand their ground, and they will fight right back. Now, we did find that pretty admirable of them, so anytime you are looking at the Harambe Reserve sign, you'll always will be seeing a sable antelope because we did make them the emblem of the reserve. Like I promised, we'll get closer and closer to see this little baby giraffe out here. For any of us that never got a chance to see him just yet, he will be coming up on our left pretty soon. Bless you. Bless you. Isn't he the tiniest, cutest little thing? He's like posing. I'm like, Mama, where are you going? He's peeing. Of course, every single animal out here that we are about to see is very, very important for the savannah's ecosystem, of course. Like the giraffes, keeping those trees nice and trim. Our grazer animals like the wildebeest, springboks, the Ankole cattle, Hartman mountain zebras, keeping the grass and everything really nice and taut. Now, the key species of all of them is going to be the African elephants, which I really hope we're going to see at some point in time. Now, the elephants, they can do a lot in this area. When they eat seeds, some seeds they can't really digest, so when they poop, their poop pretty much does act like a fertilizers for those seeds, which helps replenish the plant life, which basically helps feed the animals that mainly eat those vegetations. The elephants also create pathways for these animals by knocking down trees for them so they can get all the way all around these savannas as well. We just let our friend out here kind of cross the way. Looks like one or more of our friends is crossing. Give them a second. And now we're back. Now, of course, when the giraffes are in this group like these, they are going to be known as a tower. So we're currently seeing that tower of these Messiah giraffes that are out here. Now, it looks like we are going to see a little bit of those springboks. Now, the springboks are these really small, little tiny antelopes, and they're going to be out there on our right-hand side. Now, these guys, they are pretty fast, and they are really good jumpers. These guys are known to run up to 50 miles per hour, and are known to be able to outrun cheetahs, who can run up to 75 miles per hour, due to how fast their stamina, they can last for a very long time, running for a very long time. While cheetahs, they can run pretty fast, but they can't last that long running. Now, of course, the springboks, they can jump up to like 6 feet in the air and leap 13 feet forward despite being that small in size. Now, we are about to see some downed trees out here, which means it's a good sign that we'll probably see some elephants around here. Now, keep in mind, if they even happen to be out here, they do tend to hide sometimes just behind the really large bushes and trees that are out here that we might see. Now, once we get in there, don't worry if you aren't able to spot them right away. We are going to keep moving around, so hopefully we're going to see one if they happen to be out here. Now, it looks like I do see a few. Looks like we are going to be seeing some of these female elephants that we're seeing out here today. Now, of course, the female elephants can only weigh up to like 9,000 pounds. So that's what we're seeing out here on our right-hand side. While the male elephants usually tend to weigh around like 13,000 pounds, so a lot bigger than these female elephants. But despite being really large animals, they are all very much afraid of bees. But before we do start talking about that, for any of us that have never seen a mandrill before, there's like the back end of him, and now he is kind of gone. So we'll just keep on going. Now, of course, like I said, the elephants, they are very much afraid of bees. We did discover that out here on this very reserve. We don't see elephants, they weren't going to a certain part of it. So, of course, we did have to investigate that. And notice that there was a beehive out there they're all very much afraid of getting close to. Now, upon further investigation, we did find out that the bee stings, of course, hurt the elephants. They got pretty sensitive skin, and they just don't like the buzzing sound that bees make, because they also have some pretty good hearing on top of that. Now, out in Africa, there was a pretty huge human and elephant conflict that was going on. Those elephants went to those farmers' land, eating all their crops, and of course, the farmers did retaliate, because it was their livelihood. Now, in order to help them out, Disney did start a project known as the Elephant in the Bees Project. Pretty much since we discovered the elephants out here, we're afraid of bees, we decided to set theory right back in Africa by planting beehives on the edge of those farmlands. Now, it really did help them out a lot, keeping those farmers safe, the elephants safe, and of course those farmers' livelihoods as well. Now, for any of us that want to see what this beehive looks like in person, we do have one that lives on the very, very edge of this reserve, which I'll definitely point out once we kind of get to that point in time, because again, it's at the very edge. Because for time being, we are passing by some red clay, and elephants do enjoy red clay. They do eat it for important minerals. I see a lot of tusk marks out there on our right, and a lot of footprints out here on our left. So hopefully this is a good sign that maybe we're going to see some more elephants as we go on. Now let's see. I think I might have saw some further past these rocks. Oh, it actually just dirt piles. Seems like I don't see any of our friends roaming around, but for the elephants that we did see out there, like I said, they are those female elephants. They tend to be a little bit more social. They usually stay in a family herd, and those family herds are made up of a bunch of those females and of course their offsprings, while the males will leave that herd around their teenage years. Now, during that time is when they'll decide whether or not they want to be alone or with another group of males known as a bachelor's herd. Now, usually bachelor's herds are a lot smaller in comparison to the family herds. Usually there's like 5 males in their herd. Now, we are, however, we coming across the greater flamingos. They're going to be out all here on our left-hand side. Now, the greater flamingos, these guys, they are going to be a little more of a lighter shade of pink, but they still get their beautiful pink color from their diet. Now, when they do hatch, when all flamingos hatch, they're either going to be a white or this like really grayish color. Now, it does take flamingos around 2 years to get their full pink color, so you might be able to notice that a few of them still have the gray on the top of their heads, the back of their heads, or even down their necks still. Now, these guys are pretty social animals. You rarely will ever see these guys alone. They're always going to be in their groups known as a flamboyance. So currently we just saw that flamboyance of greater flamingos. And we are about to enter that denser part of the savanna. Out here, the animals, they love the shade of the trees, they love the shades of the bushes, and they do like to hide in them. Now, since the sun is starting to come up, well, it's already fully up, it's not as hot just yet, so hopefully we'll get to see them kind of more roaming around these parts. And we're also in big cat country, which means those predators are around here, so do keep your eyes peeled out for them as well. You never know when you'll see them pop up. Now it looks like I spot a cheetah walking around out there. Now once we make this little bend, they are to be out there on our left-hand side in the very, very far back. They are standing, so it is pretty easy to spot. And you might be able to spot that second one that's hiding away all the way up there. Now I know the sunlight just hit us all in the eyes, but they are out there right over there walking on the left-hand side. Now, of course, the cheetahs, they are the fastest land mammals in the world. They can go from 0 to 60 miles per hour in just 3 seconds. And again, like I said, they can run up to 75 miles per hour. Now, they're able to run that fast due to their claws. They can't fully retract it all the way, so it does help them grip the ground up pretty fast out there. Now, of course, you do have these lines that goes from the corner of their eyes down their mouths that pretty much help absorb light away from their eyes. That way not being blinded by the sunlight, just like how we were just a second ago. There is one more over here, a little easier to see without the sun in our eyes. There they are. Let's see what we'll see out here. Hopefully we'll get to see something else kind of walking around. That's all just keep her. Oh, there's a lion out there. That's perfect timing. Just walked out on our left. Now, the lions, they do spend around like 16 to 20 hours per day sleeping and resting. Just like that, cats, they always do the same exact thing when they see something they like. Now, of course, that means that lions will do majority of their hunting at night since they spend so long resting and sleeping. Now, the female lions, that's the female lion that we just saw, will do majority of the hunting while the males usually they'll just stay with the territory and their cubs protecting them. Now, there's like 2 more sitting out there, so we'll get a really good view of them. And we'll get a really good view of the white rhinos that are out here on our right. And we won't just keep on moving forward because we'll get a really good view of that one eating, a really good front view. So here's a good view from this side, and then we'll get to see them one more time. We're coming out here just to check out these lions on this side. Now you might notice that the male lion, his mane isn't as big, and he has a little mohawk going on the top of his head. Now when he matures and gets older, because all 3 of them are still pretty young, his mane will grow and go further down his back, and it will get darker and bigger. But right now, he's going to be rocking that mohawk for a while. Now, this will be my favorite part, is to be the warthogs, because sometimes they're rarely out, so I'm happy that we all get to see them today, but there they are. Now, we all know Pumbaa from Lion King, right? That's what the warthogs are. Now, Pumbaa in the Afrikaans language means foolish, which doesn't relate to any of these warthogs at all. Warthogs are actually very, very smart. They actually track predators like hunting strategies and all this kind of stuff. And they're known to be the largest burrowing animals, meaning they make those burrows and they'll go back end first. That way their razor sharp tusks will stick out, protecting them from those predators. Now, out here on our right, like I said, promise a really good view of the white rhino that was eating right over here. These guys are known to be the largest of the 2 rhinos in Africa. These guys have a bit more of a wider jaw, as you can tell, so they usually tend to graze a little bit more down low. Now you might notice they have that little bit of that orangey brownish tint color to their skin. That is just dry mud. Mud does protect the rhinos from the sun, just as sunscreen protects us. And of course, it does act like a bugger pound for those pretty big rhinos. Now, out here on our right still, we can see some ostrich eggs. They're large, they're off-white, and they're right there. There's like 6 of them in the ground. As you tell, they're pretty big eggs, and they're really strong on top of that. For a full-grown adult, if they were to stand right on top of them, they will not break. Now, each egg does weigh around like 3 pounds, which is equivalent to 24 chicken eggs, so they are pretty heavy on top of that. Now we're gonna come out here, we're gonna go ahead and pay one little state visit since he does live at the very edge of this reserve, and we'll come by and check out some more of our little friends, and of course check out that beehive that we did talk about earlier on from the Elephant in the Bees project. Now these little guys that we are about to see be known as the Nigerian dwarf goats. Now these goats, they're not baby goats, they are full-grown adults. They're just that small and tiny. Now this yellow box that's suspended above the ground, that is a beehive. That's what's planted out there on the edge of those farmlands, keeping those elephants safe and of course the farmers safe as well. Now these goats out here, they're pretty friendly, they're pretty playful, they do love to sleep, they do love to eat pretty much all day. But due to how friendly they are, a lot of people tend to keep them as a pet, but remember, they are animals. So please make sure we're doing all of our research on them. Because of course they got their needs just like we do as well, and that goes for any kind of animal out there in the world. Just make sure we're just doing all of our research. Now we did see a lot of amazing animals.
Emma, celui de ce matin? Non, non. Emma, Emma. Kiki.
Wow.
Parce qu'on est un peu proche avec la petite, là. Allez-y aussi.
Liza. Liza.
She's 44 years old.
44 years old?
A little over 6 feet tall and weighs about, she got his weight down to about 380 pounds.
Yeah.
Because that helps his heart.
I bet. Yeah.
I saw a lizard.
Oh, you saw a lizard. That's what you were looking at.
Right here. You ever see that one out there? Oh, no, I didn't. Ready? 1, 2, 3, turn around, both of y'all. Get over to one side.